Well, so I lived enough happy memories by recounting some of my favorite Pokemon from every region. It is time to relive some traumatic memories by making yet another least favorite Pokemon video. Yeah, it's a video I didn't think I was going to make. But let's get into it because there's a lot of Pokemon that, well, I kind of want to just dish out a lot of hate on. So before I get into the video, I do apologize if there is a Pokemon, if there's a Pokemon that anyone likes in this video. This is not an attack on, well, most of these aren't attacks on the Pokemon as an individual. It's just most of these Pokemon have just ruined my day in one way or another. So, let's get into the video. Because starting off, we of course have 4 picks. So, who are they? Well, the answer for that would of course be Thundurus, Tornadus, Landorus, and Enamorus. Now, there's a story for this one, and that is of course, well, a very long story. Now, I've never been a fan of these legendaries. I personally hate their design. I'm not gonna be one of those people that complain that they're too humanoid. It's just, they really just don't feel like Pokemon designs. If they were in any other game, like Persona or Final Fantasy, personally, I wouldn't have an issue with them, because they feel like they would be in those games. But as Pokemon designs, they're really nothing too special. Now, my hate for them kinda got even bigger because of Legends Arceus. Now, I hated them because of the Gen 5 games, because they're roamers, but they're worse in Legends Arceus. Now, this really ruined my day. Because first of all, you can't even get these guys until after the fight with Tholo, and that on its own is just such a nightmare to complete. I will obviously rant about that in a future video. But then you have to catch these 3 knuckleheads, and then you have to complete the Pokedexes. It's not catching all 3 of them. You literally have to do so much stupid stuff, like, oh, you have to see these guys use extra sensory like 25 different times. Okay, wow, that's interesting. I mean, it was interesting the first time, but I mean, it'll be more interesting the 25th time. That's not even the worst thing. You have to use 40 agile moves, which honestly, I think putting my hand on the stove would be a better use of my time than doing that. And it gets worse because once you complete all 3 of this, you get to torch yourself with Enamorus. I was already in such a terrible mood at this point because I kept having to restart these encounters because I kept getting knocked out. And Tornadus was the worst out of them all because I kept getting attacked by random Pokemon. Glalie is lucky that it's not on this list. And Enamorus was worse because this was pushing me beyond my breaking point, and it's thanks to this that personally I really just don't think I want to play these games for a while. So thanks, Pokemon. Of course, what's my next choice? Well, my next choice is of course Chansey, once again. So what did Chansey do to deserve another spot on this list? Well, this is my original, one of my original videos. Chansey already made its spot on this list, and when I was writing this list, it had another spot on this list, but I forgot what happened. This time, it has a new spot on my list because it kept stealing my lucky egg whenever I was training up my Pokemon. One word, covet. It steals your held item, and once that happens, well, you better hope that you had an autosave unless you want to lose a lot of playtime, like I kept doing. So that was fun having to deal with. And thanks to that, Chansey makes me hate it even more. Of course, there's a lot more hate for the next Pokemon, so let's go dish out some hate towards them too. Tracheon has never been my favorite Pokemon. In fact, it is probably my least favorite legendary, aside from the abomination that is the stupid whatever they are and the misfit fourth member. But Tracheon has always been a Pokemon I've really never liked. And it personally makes me hate it more because of the Gen 6 and 7 games, as this guy had a rock type move. I don't remember which one it was, but it would pretty much always one-shot my Butterfree, who I relied on to use Sleep Powder to make catching these guys easier. But, you know, this jerk kind of decided, why not just one-shot my Bug-type Pokemon? So that's cool. Even when I had a Grass-type Pokemon, it still would always knock them out. And it's just really frustrating to deal with, and personally, I really just hate Tracheon. There's really nothing else more to say about that. Of course, we have a couple new Pokemon I kind of want to dish out some hate against. So, of course, we have Goldingo, or whatever their name is. So, let's dish out some hate for them. Scarlet and Violet were pretty interesting games, to say the least. While they did have quite a lot of issues, they had quite a lot of fun Pokemon. This guy is not one of them. To evolve this guy, you have to collect 999 coins, which is pure torture. And again, I think I'd rather put my hand on the stove rather than do this again. And that's really all I have. This game introduced some really dumb evolution methods. And of course, it continues with more physical pain with my next choice. Palafin is a Pokemon I despise for one simple reason. You have to evolve it in the Union Circle at level 38 for it to evolve. Now, I was dreading this because I had both my copies as digital, so I couldn't really play them both at the same time, which was a kind of dumb mistake, but I didn't know about that. And when I realized this, it was already too late to start a new file on a separate account, and it made me dread evolving them. And the only ways you can get a Palafin in the game is through the Terra Raids, or through a event that has been expired. That's how I got mine. Even though it worked out in the end, I still hate this Pokemon and how you evolve it. And of course, it gets worse with my next pick. Rella makes me feel physical pain. I'm not joking. Every time I see this Pokemon, I feel like my body is literally shutting down all of my organs and just waiting for me to expire. And it gets worse because of how you evolve it. Now, Rella is one of 3 Pokemon that decided that they're too good for any other evolution method. You have to walk 1,000 steps with them outside of the Pokeball, and it has to be in one sitting. If they go back in the Pokeball, it starts all over again, which makes me hate them. Bramlin and whatever the thing's name is Final Evolution could also be on there, but the weird orange thing whose name I've been forgetting, I don't hate them that much, and Bramlin and Bramblegast are actually pretty dull. This thing just, this is probably why we have standards for Pokemon, because you get this thing, like, not even the coolest person would want to step on this thing, is how horrendously ugly it is. And of course, the physical pain gets much more worse. The good thing that my next few videos should be positive, because this video is anything but Hitmontop is a Pokemon I'm surprised that hasn't been on this list. I mean, Hitmontop it makes my blood boil. How you evolve it and its design. It has a stupid design, and it feels like a massive FU to Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, as these two are better in every way, and how you evolve this guy is also frustrating. It really bothers me that they decided to make it so you had to have equal attack and defense for you to get this guy. You just couldn't have had this speed higher or a certain move, and we're 9 generations in and they still haven't changed his evolution method, and it really annoys me, and it's thanks to this that Hitmontop is one of my least favorites. And of course we're going back to Scarlet Violet with another Pokemon, unfortunately. I had this guy written as Weird Bird Thing from Scarlet. That's how forgettable this guy is. Now, I don't hate this guy, it's just more so he's forgettable. Like, I literally had to go up on Pokemon database or something, I don't remember the site, but I had to look up this guy's name just to remember what he was called. He's just that forgettable. But not forgettable enough, or he hasn't angered me to really have him as my least favorite Pokemon. This list was in no particular order, and if it was Thunderous and the ragtag group of ugly misfits would be my number 1. And of course, the final Pokemon is of course Pachirisu. I like Pachirisu. It's an adorable Pokemon, but I have a huge bone to pick with it. There's gonna be a joke I was gonna say that it's responsible for how Scarlet Violet turned out, and that generally made me chuckle, but this thing ruined my experience from day 1. It seems like it's a common Pokemon to encounter, but for me it was so uncommon that I did not encounter it until the end of Pokemon Violet, when I found it on accident. I literally was already at the point where I was gonna transfer it from home when it became compatible. Right as I start Scarlet though, guess who appears pretty early on in the game? This Pokemon had a vendetta against me, and it has a new vendetta against me because I still haven't been able to find it in Legends Arceus, and I just feel like I wanted to give it a spot in this list. That's pretty much all the Pokemon I have a bone to pick with now. There'll probably be more in the future, there's bound to be more, but that's really it for now. So, goodbye, and thank you for watching, and sorry if this video was way too negative. I just really hate Thunderous and the other 3 abominations because they really ruined my day.